In this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about why building fitness is actually super simple. A lot of people end up overcomplicating it, but you don't really need to at all to see amazing results. So I'm about to go out on my run. Let's go and get that done before it gets too dark, and we'll have a little chat. Sky, that is lovely. The moon. Not that I need to point it out, because obviously you can see it. Like I mentioned in the intro, it's actually super simple, and it's something that a lot of people overcomplicate for various reasons. And I think it's going to be something that I talk about when I get home, because it's getting quite dark. I don't know what the quality of this footage looks like. It might be questionable. And yeah. So, meet you back at home. Now, it's really important this time of year to really be focusing on your base fitness. And this is where I think a lot of people, they perhaps lose motivation. It's definitely a discussion that I've had with people over the last few weeks about continuing to find that motivation to get out and get training done when the evenings are getting darker, it's getting colder, the weather's not great. Definitely not the most inspiring environment to train in, that's for sure. But this time of year is actually super important. Not to build your race fitness, to build your base fitness and to really focus on the foundations. If we strip gaining fitness or getting fitter down to its bare bones, it is literally overloading your body with a stimulus, like training, to a particular point, and then you end up recovering by going easier, reducing intensity, having a few rest days, whatnot, recovering from that overload, and then doing it again, and then over time you can overload more by either more intensity, more duration, a mix of both, whatever stimulus you find best works for you, in order to get fitter. That's really as simple as you can kind of make it, to be honest. And I think this video for me is about giving some people some top tips of how to actually see consistent gains in their fitness, especially this time of year when getting out the door is like, it's the last thing you want to do. It's not enjoyable at all. And then you can lose consistency. And as soon as you lose consistency, it's a snowball effect. You will stop completely. It'll be harder to get back into it. You'll lose your gains. You'll feel unfit. You'll feel a bit more fluffy around the edges perhaps. And it's just demotivating, and it is that snowball effect. And I've been talking to a lot of people in the last few weeks who've said, how do I stay motivated over this time of year? How do I keep consistent? And this is really the key. And if you take anything away from this video, this is it. Make sure your training, whether you're getting programmed from a coach or you're doing your own training, make sure right now in this point in the season, it is bite-sized chunks. You don't need to be doing anything crazy. You don't need to be doing anything special. But in my opinion, all right, and you may disagree with me and drop it in the comment section below if you do, I believe people lose motivation not because they get injured or they get ill. That is a factor, of course. However, I think most of it is because you bite off more than you can chew too early on, and you perhaps do a couple of weeks of good training, but it's too much for you too soon, end up getting overly fatigued, not really enjoying it too much, lose the love for it, fall out of consistency with it, and then it's harder to get back into it. Once you've fallen out of the consistent routine, it's very hard to get yourself back into it. That's what I believe. It's similar to people with, let's say, diets, right? People, whenever they want to lose a bit of weight or they want to get a bit leaner or whatever your goal is, people always seem to force themselves into a diet which is such a contrast from what they're already used to. And they may hold it for a week, a couple of weeks, and then boom, it's like they're like, no, I can't do this anymore. I need a cookie. It's the same sort of thing. And I think actually this time of year, instead of thinking about the amount that you're doing, it's actually more how consistently you can do the training. So I would focus more on frequency over anything else, and just frequently like bite-sized chunks as well. Doesn't have to be anything special, but just doing something active every single day and getting the body moving and staying in that consistent routine. The thing is, then, once you've done weeks of consistently moving, maybe not as huge training volume as you'd like to do, maybe not as intense as you'd like to do, but as soon as you are more consistent with it, after weeks of doing that, you will see really good results. You will see beneficial results in your training and in your fitness and in your general mood. That will be confidence inspiring and confidence inducing, and that will make you want to train more or train harder or just be more consistent, which will give you better results as well. And that consistency will snowball, and that will make you a far fitter and better athlete this time of year than any other person. Now, obviously, when you get towards your races, whether you're racing earlier next year, later next year, whenever, you obviously are going to start needing to include race-specific sessions, race intensity, a little bit of intensity here and there. But this time of year, honestly, for any of those of you out there who are struggling with motivation, drop it in the comment section as well, because I feel like it's a really good place to bring this like community kind of vibe, and people will just help out with ideas. If you've got a bit of difficulty with finding motivation, how to find motivation, drop in a location, drop in where you live, and if there's people watching this video who live in the same area as you and you want to get out and do some training together, awesome, hit them up in the comment section below. And I think that's a great way of gaining motivation as well over the winter. But even if you're just struggling with basic things, let people know in the comment section below. I will personally help out and try and come up with ideas for you. But I would encourage also other people watching this video, head down to the comment section below. If you see people are struggling a little bit this time of year, motivation-wise, they don't know what's working well for them, what's not working well for them, give them some tips, give them some ideas, because I think this this community aspect is really good around these types of topics. And this is just my thoughts, guys. You know, this is my opinion. You may agree with it, you may disagree with it, but I think ultimately, if you can really strip things back to as simple as they need to be, and not really confuse things with being complex or complicated, you're just going to enjoy things far more, and also making sure that they are bite-sized chunks that you are chewing so that you can become consistent and see that benefit. And I think that's really crucial this time of year, to see those fitness gains so that next year you can be just a completely different beast. And that's ultimately the goal, isn't it? Right, I will love you and leave you for this video. See you in the next one.